All right. We've talked about the background of statistics. Now let's talk about the actual what is statistics. All right. And they follow these things. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. There's also some other things that we add to this. We add the bell curve, and we have the 5-number summary, and we add the box plot. I'm sorry, did y'all say something?
We were trying to figure out what the second to last one was on the left.
Variance and standard deviation, VAR
Okay.
and SD.
Okay.
Now, what is the mean? Well, whenever you think about the mean, think of your test scores. You add them all up and divide by what? The number of test scores, right? So the summation of X over N. The median. What do you think about when you hear the word median? Middle of the road. The median in the middle of the road? It's the middle.
Think about a steak.
Mode. The number that shows up the what?
The most.
The most. Range. Highest minus the what?
Lowest.
Lowest. Mid-range is also called the midpoint. In the 5-number summary, we're going to use it for the box plot as the midpoint, the middle. And that is the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. Now the variance and the bell curve and all that stuff we're going to get into later. But right now, you need to focus on these. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you should know. You need to get your highlighter out. And I'm going to highlight in green 3 things in green, meaning they have a lot to do with each other. Mean, median, and the range. What do you think those 3 things have to deal with?
I don't know.
Well, look at what median is. What is median?
The middle.
And what is mid-range? What is the first letters, 3 letters in mid-range and midpoint?
Middle.
Middle. Mid. So what do you think all 3 of them have to do with?
The average. The middle.
The middle. All of those 3 things. The mean, I'm going to put this in green. The mean, the median, and the mid-range all are measures of center. Sorry. Put that. Measures of center. And that's very important because the study of statistics is the study of the measure of center, where everything lies in reference to the what? To the center, to the middle. That's what statistics does. All right, some of you may not remember this. I don't know what teachers do now. I know I do it a little bit. But sometimes you may have had a test in the past, and Mr. Robinson, you may know about this. You had a test in the past, and your teacher passes out the test after she grades it or he grades it, what do they put on the board? Class what?
Average.
The class average, okay? Why do they put the class average up there? Because they want you to see how you rate with the class average, all right? And that's where you start learning the measure of center, okay? Basically, what is the measure of center? It's basically a comparison of how you fall with the middle of the data. And that's what statistics is. Okay? I'm going to erase these other things, and we'll get into those later. And I'm probably covering 12.3 and 12.4 both. I don't know. I haven't looked at 12.4, but do it when we get to it. Okay? So, what is the mean? Well, let's take 4, 71, 72, 78, and 80. There's 4 test scores. Now, notice what did I do? I put them in what?
Order. In order.
Order. You always put them in order. Write that down. Number 1, put your data in order. Number 1 thing, put your data in order. What? Oh yeah.
Debbie's here.
Farm boy.
You know, you're calling cows.
Yeah. Tell Debbie that I'm going to open this door up so that you get down there. Okay. All right, so add them all up. 71, 72, 78, 80. Somebody give me that total.
Hang on one second.
I didn't hear. I heard 801 is what I heard.
No, I said hold on one second.
Oh.
301.
301. Y'all are so smart.
I didn't even use a calculator.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Feeling faint. 301. Now what am I going to do? You actually used your brain?
Divide it by 4 and you get 75.25.
Divided by 4 is equal to 75.25. And that is your average. It's also called the mean. It's also called X bar and mu. So let's write all that down. The average, the mean, X bar, or mu. Mu is a funky looking M. It's pronounced M-E-W. Or M-E-W, depending on where you're from. W. M-E-W. I didn't know that W was pronounced W until I started listening to people from around here, and they don't pronounce W. It's W. Those are the same people that pronounce it C-L-E-M-S-O-N without a P. Clemson. They put a Z in it. But if somebody puts a P in it, they're dumb, racist, and southern. But they can put a Z in it, and that's okay. All right. Y'all don't notice that on TV, do you? Shut up, you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Clemson.
Clemson. You can put a Z in it, and you're okay and respectable. But if you put a P in it, you're dumb, racist, southerner with no teeth. All right, so median. Median is the middle. You calculate that. Now, we've got to put a note here for the median. I'm going to put that in red. So I'm going to erase my green, and I'm going to put a red note here for the median. If n is odd, you just pick the middle. Some of you that's had it before, what if n is even? You take the average of the middle, what? 2 numbers.
2 numbers. Yeah, I remember that now.
Okay, so write that down. If n is odd, which this one is even, this one's not odd. If n is even, you find the average of the middle 2 numbers. If n is odd, so like we had 5 numbers, then you just pick the middle. So in this case, we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So n is equal to 4. That's even. So we got to find the two middle numbers, and we got to take the average. Median is 72 plus 78 over 2. And I think that's 150, so that'd be 75. So the median is 75. What do you notice about our median and our mean?
They're close.
They're very close. When you start seeing mean, median, and mid-range very close, that means your data is very tight. What does tight mean? Starts with a V. A, L, I, D, valid. In other words, if you have tight data, V-A-L-I-D, valid. That means your data is very valid. It doesn't have any outliers. It's very close. Where did you say you work, Mr. Robinson?
I don't work nowhere right now. I was at home dad. I was working at iTrun.
Where did you work?
iTrun.
I'm sorry, what?
iTrun, building meters.
Building
iTrun.
meters, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of meters?
Gas meters or electric meters. Kind of on the side of your house.
All right. In order for a meter to work, you have to have the numbers in there to turn or to make a digital display work, right?
Correct.
Well, what if you have haphazardly put the meter together?
If I put the meter wrong, right? Is that what you're
If
saying?
you put it together half-ass or haphazardly, what would happen?
It ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. Okay? So what does that mean? That means you put it together what? Sloppily. Okay? Sloppy. If you have sloppy data or you have sloppy components, it's not going to work. If you have sloppy data, the statistics is not going to work very well. All right? What does that mean? That means you have sloppy data. Sloppy is the opposite of tight. All right? When you have something tight, when you put that meter together correctly, it's supposed to what? It's supposed to work. Okay? Now, I could go to Miss Johnson and we could talk about sloppy all day long. Miss Johnson knows what sloppy is, right, Miss Johnson?
Yes, sir.
When you go clean up somebody's house and they're sloppy, it takes you longer, okay?
Yeah.
Sloppy is the opposite of tight and well organized, all right? Now, you don't use the word sloppy very much because it's not looked upon very positively. If you say somebody is sloppy or you say sloppy work or sloppy data, it's not looked upon properly, okay? But the sloppy is the opposite of tight, all right? Now, if you have tight data, which means you don't have a lot of outliers, then your mean, your median, and your mid-range are going to line up. They may be 1 or 2 points away from each other, but they're going to line up. And we'll see that when I go to the spreadsheet and I actually start punching some of these things in, you're going to see that. Capiche?
Capiche.
Mode. I really don't care about the mode, but they're going to ask you about the mode. So what is the mode? Mode shows up the most. If you don't have a number that shows up the most, then you don't have a mode. So you have to put there is no mode. Does not exist. There ain't none. There ain't near. Whatever you want to say, but do not put 0. Because if you put 0, some smart aleck teacher is going to circle 0 and mark it wrong and say 0 is not even in the data. Okay, so you can't say 0 mode. You have to say there is none, does not exist, there is no mode in this set of data. You have to actually say that. Okay? So, can you have more than one mode? Yes. If you have 22 show up twice and 33 show up twice, then the mode is 22 and 33. If you have 3 numbers that show up 6 times, all 3 of them show up 6 times, then yes, all 3 of them. There is no big deal. Mode is not that important. Everybody with me? It's not that important. range. We're going to use the range and the mid-range with the 5-number summary as well as the box plot. So that's
Can I ask
what
a question?
range- Yes, go right ahead.
The n equals 4, where did that come from?
That's how many grades we got. 71, 72, 78, and 80.
Okay.
We got
Okay,
4
thank you.
grades, so n is equal to 4. That's when I was saying it's odd. I mean, it's even. So therefore, you add the 2 in the middle and you divide by 2.
Okay.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the handy dandy Excel spreadsheet. Now, the reason I pull up the spreadsheet, just like I do in my Math 120 and 103, so I can get everything on one screen. That's why I have it. I do not ask that you master Excel. I do not force people to take Excel. I only use it for a presentation tool. So I have to say that because I get so many people that are right on my evaluation. He expects for us to know Excel. No, I didn't say anything like that. I just use it so I can get everything on the screen because I write so big and so unorganized that it's hard for me to get everything on the screen when I'm doing all this stuff. All right, so I'm going to put those same numbers on here. And I'm going to go through and put the stuff that I want to find. What was those numbers again?
71, 72, 78,
and 80.
Okay. So I'm going to go over here to the right side of the screen. Y'all can see the screen, right?
Yes.
All right, mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. I can't spell. All right, so I'm going to go through here, and the reason I'm doing this is for 2 reasons. One is to reinforce what we just did, and another reason I'm doing it is because I'm going to show you something. So the mean, I'm going to hit summation of these 4 numbers divided by 4. There's my mean. My median is going to equal, parentheses, this number plus this number divided by 2. And I'm going to highlight these 2 numbers yellow, and that's my mean right there. Mode, I don't really care. There's not one, so I'm going to say D and E does not exist. Non-applicable, N/A. There is none. Write down the word none, N-O-N-E, but do not put 0. Range is equal to the highest minus the what? Lowest. Mid-range is equal to the highest plus the lowest divided by what?
2.
Divided by 2. So all of you should know how to do those. And if you notice, look at the mean, and I'm going to highlight these in green, dang old birthday. Because if you notice them, they all are very close together. Uh-oh, Oconee, you still there? Okay, you're there.
Woohoo!
Now just turn the. Can you see? Hold on. Can you see? I'll just put my screen up. I know it's just gonna have to do the best.
I cannot see that.
What?
Unless we pass the phone around, we can't really see it.
Well, I guess you'll just have to go with my voice until y'all get the internet back on.
Okay.
So we'll just go. Well, that's better than nothing. So I can see Mr. Robinson. Just chill out, Mr. Robinson. Don't get excited.
We were getting excited. We wanted to leave.
Yeah, well, I'll give y'all y'all get a good attaboy for trying. Miss Johnson, you get a good attaboy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At least you're not like a lot of students who want to get the hell out.
Yeah.
What?
We all wanted to.
Well, okay, fine. I don't like y'all either. Okay. Well, I'll just finish up with this problem and then I'll let y'all go because unless it comes up, there's no use in doing it. At least I can finish the problem.
Another class today that they think they cut a line outside.
Okay. Well, let me just finish.
That went out.
Go ahead. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
The phones and the internet went out.
Okay. Well, we're doing good. We're making lemonade out of lemons. Okay. So we'll just do the best we can.
We did it on our phone.
Look, you got the police here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you
We still working. We still limping along. We got it going by phone. All right. So I was just going to show you one thing, and this is what I was going to show you. We're not going to get into the variance and the standard deviation yet because there's no way I'm going to try to teach you that just with my voice. So what I'll do is I'll just do this one thing. If you change that 71 to a 50 and change that 80 to 100, what happens to the mean, the median, well, the mean and the mean range is supposed to change. It didn't change. Hold on a second. Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. Why didn't it change? Maybe because there's so few. There we go. And change this to a 40. There we go. If you have different numbers in there, like 40, let's change this to a 30 and change this to a 10 and change this to a 32. And when you start changing the numbers and you start spreading them out a little bit, you start seeing the mean, the median, and the mid-range, they don't line up like they were. Okay, now of course you can't see it because, you know, I'm looking to see, oh, I didn't start the, okay, I did restart the recording. Okay, good. I'm going down and look, Oconee is still offline. I'm going to keep that over here to the right so I can keep my eye on it if it comes back up. And if I was to put all close numbers in there, if I was to change the numbers to, and put this in your notes, if I was to change the numbers to 76, 80, 82, and 90, if you was to change it to 76, 80, 82, and 90, the mean, the mid-range, and the median would line back up again. All right? So when you're looking at the mean, so what I mean by that? Well, I'm going to write on the board here, and I know y'all can't see it very good, but I'm going to write on the whiteboard. And yeah, I can write. Okay. You're not going to see it very good, but when I write X bar is equal to whatever it says it was equal to, hold on. X bar is equal to 82. If I write X bar means the sample average or mean, the sample mean. If I write mu is equal to 82, that is called a population mean. Okay, this is called a lowercase statistic.
And what is that again?
And a lowercase statistic means that it's dealing with the sample. So now notice I said lowercase of statistic. Uppercase statistic means what? Means the gathering of stuff, the gathering of calculation, interpretation of data. Okay. Lowercase statistic means that it's a letter, a variable that's pertaining to the sample. If you see a Greek letter right here, which is mu, pronounced M-E-W, that's a Greek letter. If you see a Greek letter in statistics, that means it's a parameter, and it has to do with the population. Now, the reason I want to discuss that right now, and I'm done with this, is you're taking this class and 120 and 103. The probability and statistics that you're getting in these two classes or three classes is a very introductory level, meaning that you're not needing to master, but you need to be able to know what it is if you are presenting or if you are being presented to. So if Mr. Robinson gets a job at BFE Industry and he's a department head, he might be asked to find the mean age of his group working at that company. Or he may get a presentation from a supervisor talking about the sample mean or the population mean. How do you know which one's which? One is by a letter in the alphabet, X, and that is a sample, so that means, oh, you're talking about the sample mean. Yes, and I'm comparing it to the population mean, which would be a different number. Very rarely are they the same. Okay? I'm just showing you that the mean can be written with two different variables. And that what does that mean? That means that one is dealing with the sample and one is dealing with the population. So the sample mean may be an average of 82, but the population mean may be 86. So when you're talking about mean, you need to know what it is, okay? And it is it's a statistic sample, meaning that it is a variable used in the sample calculations, or it is a parameter, which means a variable in reference to the population. So if I'm doing a presentation at whoever's work, and I throw up X bar is equal to 24, you know that is the sample average age. Okay? Versus the population age, which would be mu, would be 28. So you would say, as somebody being presented to, okay, they're comparing the 24 to the 28. So the sample, wherever they took the sample, let's say it was at Pickens County, okay, and the population would be the Northeast, South Carolina, okay. The population would be 28, and the sample mean, which would be Pickens County, would be 24. Okay, so it's just my grandfather always told me, if you keep your mouth shut, you won't show your ignorance. Well, in a meeting, when you ask questions, you have to be careful what you ask, because sometimes when you ask questions, you show what?
You don't know what you're doing?
Exactly. It shows how ignorant you are. And how many of you have ever seen the movie Smokey and the Bandit? Ask that question. Y'all don't watch any movies at all. But Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds says to Sally Fields, he says, depending on where you're at in the world, determines on what you say is stupid or not. And it's true. If you're in a meeting and and you are in a meeting of department heads, and everybody that's a department head has a college degree or better, then if you don't know the difference between X bar and mu, you're really going to sound what? Stupid. Okay? So that's one of the reasons that is a big deal with not only a standardized test question, but it's also a big deal in the real world if you're being presented to in a meeting, or if you're presenting in a meeting, to at least know the difference between the sample mean and the what? And the population mean. Okay. All right. Y'all are still offline, so y'all have a good weekend and work on 12.1 through 12.3. We'll continue with the mean. We'll keep doing these Monday when y'all come back, okay?
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.